So I know everybody is very sleepy right now, so I'm just gonna be really quick and concise, okay? Actually, when I see before the presentation, everybody's like, I haven't prepared anything. I haven't prepared. Look at Sam. He was acting so energetic. I wish he did the same thing as the World Scholars Cup competition. And look, not gonna lie, I'm gonna speak a little bit informal language because I want y'all to understand that this book is not a personal statement from anybody from the authors, but it's more like we want you to walk with us to the information that we acquired throughout our studies. That's what we want. And as you can see, before I want to say about the book, I want to admit one thing. I have been scared of this stage for 3 years. Why? Because the first time was the TTS Cup 2021. That's when most of these speakers, they were the best of their form. They talk about black holes in ways that nobody can imagine. They talk about things that are visionary. You know what I talk about? Books. And I don't even read any of them. Somehow I still have the audacity to come up and talk about a book. And the second time, I presented with Sam. You know what we talk about? Education. I'm not the best student in my school. Where's the audacity to present about education? Right. So now, as you can see, each of these person has their own intensity, their passion, memories. All of their best form is already performed in here, except for me. So, I just want to say I will be the neutral one in this one because I want to be the person who will guide you through my knowledge, not to teach you. This book, in my opinion, it redefines critical thinking. But how would you redefine critical thinking though? Because I think most people, when they said critical thinking, they will think, oh, you must have deep knowledge. You must be like a philosopher. You gotta talk about things that are older than your age in order to have a clear comprehension about the world. No, I don't think that's so. I don't think it. For me, critical thinking, it's like a big idea. What do you mean a big idea? Your creativity is the big idea. You create an idea that is from your heart, from your brain, and from the experience that you are going through. That's what critical thinking is. And I think most educational purposes are wrong for this. Why? It's because they require a student to have such large comprehension, wide story, and vivid things. But the problem is they haven't hit the core value. It's that it allows students to have creativity and to have innovation in their own color. And that's why I would want people to see, or readers to see, in this kind of book. All right, moving on to the contents. So why did I choose Model United Nations? Model United Nations isn't actually a pretty popular competitive format. Actually, I was better at debate than Model United Nations. But remember what I said. I don't want to teach you. I want to guide you with me in order to learn something new. And Model United Nations did just that. I feel like I am pretty inexperienced when it comes to Model United Nations. I gotta admit. Because Model United Nations acquires information that every time your parents open on the TV and watch the news, right? Like, you will hear about, oh, the world problem, the world issue, while you're there playing your games. You're like, this is boring, right? But those information somehow works on MUN, and that's what I'm lacking. So when I write the book, don't see it as a guy who's, all knowledge, omnipresent, like a god. No. I want you to look at it as a friend that shares you all of his stories, a friend that easily can confide with you when he is at his weakest, when he is vague. And I want you and that friend learn more. And from those lessons that you guys learn together, you got your own idea. And that's the true value of critical thinking. All right, I want to talk about, to end this up pretty quick, I want to talk about my experience and the inspiration behind why am I writing this. Well, to be honest, actually, I have visited two events of MUN. One is SMUN by the Social Community Fund. The second one is the current one, the TTS MUN. You can check it out on YouTube video on TTS SQ YouTube channel. Okay, I'm advertising for them. And to be honest, I prefer the TTS MUN. Why? Because I'm getting paid? No. I'm writing this book and I'm not getting any salary. The problem is, SMUN represents a traditional format, a proper format, or I would like to say conventional. What does it mean by conventional? Conventional or orthodox actually means normal, right to the common, right to the majority, but it doesn't stand right to me. What makes TTS MUN so special is because it was different. Rather than all nations, it chose to include two organizations, which is the International Monetary Fund and the International Labor Market. And I was the IMF. And you know what I learned? I learned that sometimes in real life, power is not distributed equally. And sometimes there is dissociation from group power, shared power, or individual power. Individual power is what I have discovered, apart from the conventional group power. And what I've learned is the more power you have, the more responsibility you must get. Just like Peter Parker uncle used to say, with great power comes with great responsibility. Everybody knows that, right? And so I need to do more research, and it expands my view about the world. And that's where critical thinking hits in. Why? Because as to become the International Monetary Fund, I am a mediator, which means I have to control between investments and I also have to control money distribution. And I have to monetize my member nation and supervise them to make sure everything goes with the flow. So that's what critical thinking hits, because you need to have initiative. You need to make something new in order to satisfy everybody, but also you got to satisfy your own goal. That's the problem. And from then on, I realized that my eyes are a little bit open. You know, my eyes used to be like this, but now I'm open up like this. So then, what I want you to acquire after this book is to from this to this. I want you to be like that. And I want you to read my part as a confession or a love letter to you. Because I love my readers. And I love my audiences. And now I'm just playing. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. So, like I said in my speech, I think what I want my audience to remember is about, you know, like the question that I always ask myself every time I'm joining a competition. Rather than you asking, is this useful or not? I would rather ask, what can I yield from this? What can I gain from this? Because for me, each journey may look like it's not necessary, but each of those steps build your characteristics. And for me, reading my part, it's like a small extra step in order for you to lift your characteristics from here to up here. And I think, you know, with the process of spending 6-7 months, it's pretty challenging. But I hope this book could, you know, help the audience to remember that another 6-7 years later, they will know who they are, and they will have me by their side with the book. That's what I want.
Xin cảm ơn David.